Hello everybody, my name is Alex and welcome to a video where we discuss the future of content in CTR and basically how long can we expect content to keep coming for this game. Now, as I'm sure literally every single one of you knows, the Gasmoxia Grand Prix is the final Grand Prix as we know it. But we are gonna carry on getting content beyond that Grand Prix. We're probably gonna get more characters, more carts and more skins, and the latest data mine showed that there is still plenty more of that to come, as did the latest Activision blog too. But the big question, and the question I've been thinking about and theorised about here, is how long will this content, how long will the Grand Prix Mark II, let's call them, keep coming to CTR Nitro Fueled? Now, what I would say is that, do bear in mind it's a theory, so if I'm wrong, don't get incredibly angry because, you know, some of them, I'm sure I'll be right, some of the stuff, I'm sure it'll be wrong. So anyway, let's jump into my logic here. So where is the starting point for this theorising? Well, I think it comes from the idea that the future content drops we're getting after the final Grand Prix will, at least in some part, probably in large part, combine and succeed one of the previous Grand Prix. For example, we had the Prehistoric Playground Grand Prix. That was the second Grand Prix we had. What did BetaM's latest data mine suggest? Well, it suggested that we are getting a couple more baby characters, and I imagine that the next content drop will have some more succeeding content for that. Maybe we'll have some more dinosaur themed carts or whatever, or skins. So that's where I'm going with this. So Prehistoric Playground is one of these Grand Prix. But in total, I think there are 4 Grand Prix we previously had which would benefit from succeeding content drops, like we're getting with Prehistoric Playground. So the second of these is the Spyro Grand Prix. Now, we had Spyro Grand Prix, in that we had Spyro, Hunter and Nasty Nork, but we have seen, and we saw in a data mine a while ago, and also if you look in the credits, that it looks like Ripto and the Sorceress are gonna get dropped in the pit stop.
Excellent!
So the data mine showed it and we never got them initially. And also the end credits sort of credits their voice actors, I believe. So that suggests there is more Spyro content coming. So that links to the Spyro one. Also, I mean, it makes sense to have some more Spyro content. Spyro in 2020, it's not going to be a big thing. So for us Spyro fans, having a bit more content will make us happy. And I'm sure they want to do that. The third one is the Spooky, and I put Spooky / Twinsanity Grand Prix. Now, obviously, the Spooky Grand Prix was not exclusively Twinsanity based, but if you had to tie it to any sort of theme, I think you'd put it with a Twinsanity theme. And I think that maybe using the characters from the Academy of Evil, I mean, we saw Madame Amberly, I believe the Evil Twins in there, etc, etc. We could have one of them in there, and also Rusty Walrus. I mean, I know he took sort of pride of place on that ship in Mega Mix Mania, but I can't see there being a second Ruslan Grand Prix, so surely he would be coming to the game, otherwise why shove it in our faces so much? And if he was going to come to a Grand Prix, obviously it'd be the Twinsanity one. The final Grand Prix successor I see in having more content for this theme is the Tag Team Racing theme we got in the Neon Circus Grand Prix. Again, it wasn't a specific Tag Team Racing Grand Prix, but I could see how a Tag Team Racing content drop would benefit it. And also remember, in all of these content drops, maybe not so much the Spyro one, but it doesn't have to necessarily be exclusively to fit the theme. I'm just thinking it will be the general theme of the characters of the carts, but you could also stick other bits in. But yeah, the Tag Team Racing theme, we've seen Willy Wumpa Cheeks already in a data mine, I believe, and also a lot of people are sort of speculating that this Driver Who Am I situation could be Willy Wumpa Cheeks, and I totally get why people think that. Like, he's sort of riddling. It feels like the character could possibly be riddling in these data mines, so Willy Wumpa Cheeks clearly the biggest candidate if that is the case.
And now the time is nigh. It's really do or die. This stone in my sack proves Von Clutch is a hack. Ah! And you can look for me in the sky. So long, fuckers.
As well, in Tag Team Racing, there's lots of stuff they could still add. I mean, think of the carts. There is so much they could add from Tag Team Racing that if they are doing content drops, it makes sense that that would be one of the themes. So that leaves us with 4 themes. But what about the other Grand Prix that we've had and that we've enjoyed? Why can't they have extra content drops? So the first one I'd say is the Nitro Tour. I'm not sure exactly what they could do with the Nitro Tour, but the biggest thing to me that says we ain't going to see much more Nitro Tour content is that it seems that the content drop has missed it. The Nitro Tour Grand Prix was the first Grand Prix, and we have, in this content drop, seemingly gone straight to prehistoric playground stuff. So that's the biggest thing to me that suggests we won't be getting Nitro Tour content. I'm not really sure what that'd encompass either. Maybe skins for the Nitro Squad, but you could throw them in anywhere. The next one is the Winter Festival Grand Prix. As I'm sure many of you are aware, Christmas happens once a year, and I don't really see them going for another major holiday, and I don't see the game still going with this content next year. So I think Winter Festival, we can sort of dismiss that a little bit. Rustland, I mean, fair enough, like I said, Rusty the Walrus was in this Grand Prix, so if you're thinking we could have a successor to this, no. In my opinion, if Rusty the Walrus comes, he comes in that Twinsanity spot. I just don't see a successor to the Rustland Grand Prix. I think that's more than enough Apocalypse for one game. And finally, the Gas Moxia Grand Prix. Very much the same. I don't see... Like, you obviously could drop content into a future Grand Prix. That sort of relates to Gas Moxia. And I'm sure there's bits they could do with it. But we just had that Grand Prix. I mean, right now the Grand Prix is happening. So, could I see this coming back in 4 months with more content related to it? Personally, no. Like I always say, I could be wrong, but I just don't see them happening. So yeah, we're just sort of left with the 4 Grand Prix. Oh, sorry, the 4 content drop relating to the previous Grand Prix. So where does that leave us sort of with the content? Where does that leave me thinking the content will go on to? So, just link up the Grand Prix to a month. So next month, which is March, we're going to get the Prehistoric Playground stuff. April, I'd suggest we'll get the Spyro stuff. May, with this would fit the Twinsanity month. And then finally, ending off in June, we'd get some Tag Team Racing stuff. Or a Tag Team Racing focused content drop. So some of you are probably sat there feeling incredibly skeptical of my ideas. But do I have any more evidence? Well, I do really, because in the datamine, in Beta M's datamine for the Winter Festival Grand Prix at the end of last year, it suggested that there was actually content planned for this game up until around the period we are looking at. It suggested that content was planned up until about May. Now, although my theory goes up until June, which is obviously a month beyond May, there's always the possibility that 1, they could extend it by another month than what they were previously planning to get this content in. Again, 1 month doesn't make that much difference, we're still in the same ballpark. And the second possibility is that they combine 2 of these themes for one big final bang of a content drop. So, although I think we already know the Prehistoric Playground stuff looks to be dropping next month on its own, and the Spyro stuff the month after in April, I just don't see them mixing that. I think a Spyro content drop, some cool Spyro carts, Ripto the Sorcerer, some cool Spyro-inspired skins, I mean that'd be immense as its own content drop, and it'd seem weird to mix it. But the other 2 themes we've discussed in this video, those being the Twinsanity theme, and also the Tag Team Racing theme, what's to say you couldn't just combine those 2? I mean, a content drop with the likes of Willy Wumpa Cheeks, with Rusty the Walrus, Tag Team Racing Karts, it would fit relatively well together. I mean, you could also stick sort of maybe Madame Amberly in there, Evil Crash, or his dinner, the Evil Twins. You could stick those in, have a nice group of characters just to end everything on. And I do think those 2 sort of go together pretty well. So I'm thinking, with the data mine and with how I expect these final content drops to occur, I'm thinking we're looking at a May/June finish. The final thing which makes me think that it'd be about May or June where this content really stops dropping is that is roughly the time we are expecting to get announcement of a new Crash game. And I'm telling you, although they may want to use a Grand Prix close to release to really promote this new Crash game, I don't think they're going to want content dropping monthly for this game. While that is, they're going to want the big focus of the Crash fan base on the new game. Because as we've seen with previous games, look how they announce things. They announce content drip by drip to keep us hanging on, to keep us getting enthusiastic, to keep enthusiasm building. I mean, I remember building up to the sort of the last Spark, the Reignited trilogy and up to CTR. Content creators like Canadian Guy A purposely get drip-fed this content to build enthusiasm. And so I imagine while they're trying to build enthusiasm for a new game, they don't want this going on. So May or June makes sense for when we should maybe expect an announcement for a new game, and therefore when these content drops will likely end. So overall, I am predicting that the new content for CTR will end in the next 3 to 4 months. I'd be very surprised if it went on beyond June, but that's just my theory. I could be completely wrong. As a final point, I would say that I wouldn't at all be surprised if a Grand Prix related to the new game comes out closer to release. Maybe you're looking at sort of October, November, but I'm counting that as sort of separate from this chain of content. Anyway, what do you think? I'm very intrigued to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do leave them there. I try and reply to pretty much every one of them. Also, if you have enjoyed today, remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel for lots more videos like this. I cover Crash content regular. I'm trying to do it twice a week at the moment. So yeah, thank you so much for your time today. I am Alex, and I will see you in another video soon.
So long, suckers!